You're in the interview, you're prepared, you're crushing it so far. And then the interviewer asks you a completely unexpected question, and just like that, you're stumped. If you fear this exact situation happening in your next interview, 1, you're not alone, and 2, it's okay. You're not expected to know everything. So the key to success is handling yourself wisely when you get a tricky question thrown your way. How's it going, everybody? I'm Sinead, and coming up in this video, I've got 4 strategies for how to respond when you just can't answer an interview question. We've got you covered with examples too, and you definitely want to stick around for the last strategy because we'll reveal a secret that may seem trivial, but could make a lasting impression. Sounds great, right? All right, let's dive in. Strategy number 1, taking a pause. Do not underestimate the power of the pause. It's easy to assume that in order to seem on top of it, we have to respond immediately to every question that we're asked, even the ones that require a bit more thought. And that might be because answering right away makes us feel like we're super prepared. But honestly, taking a beat can seriously benefit you. Intentionally taking a pause actually shows that you're deliberate and thoughtful. Now, you may be thinking, okay, sure, but what about the deafening silence while you're taking a pause? I can't just not say anything, right? And yes, you are totally right, which is why we have 3 tactics you can use to create a natural pause that still gives you more time to think. Tactic number 1, ask clarifying questions. If the question doesn't make sense to you, or if you're just not sure what the interview is looking for in your response, ask for clarification. This allows for better understanding and some more time to think so that you can provide a more appropriate answer. For example, if the interviewer asks, "What was the most impactful thing you learned in your last position?" and suddenly your mind goes blank, you could respond with, "There's a lot I can say since I learned a great deal during my time there. Would you like to know which technical skills I gained, or more so something that impacted me as a professional?" You see, asking questions showcases your interest and intent to your interviewer while ensuring that, yes, you are both on the same page. It's always better to ask questions rather than to misinterpret what's being asked and get lost in conversation. Tactic number 2, ask your interviewer to repeat the question. Don't hesitate to ask for a question to be repeated, especially one that you find difficult to answer. Buy yourself some time and then take the extra beat to collect your thoughts, which leads us to our final tactic. Tactic number 3, ask for some more time. Be direct about wanting a moment to think. Again, it's just better to respond only once you've determined what you really want to say, so you don't find yourself speaking off topic. And yes, silence can seem like an uncomfortable addition to the interview, but it's typically only uncomfortable to us as the interviewee. So just be honest and say something like, "Wow, that's a great question. Let me think about this for a minute." Interviewers appreciate honesty, so if you need a second or 2 to breathe, collect your thoughts, and answer questions accordingly, do it. Relax. You've totally got this. If you're still with us, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and of course, hit that notification bell because trust me, you don't want to miss out on our weekly career tips. All right, so the second strategy for how to respond when you don't know how to answer an interview question is strategy number 2. Provide the knowledge that you do have. If you don't know or can't recall one component of an answer, that's okay. Don't let that hold you back from sharing what you do know. It's always better to provide what you can versus nothing at all. An interview is your opportunity to show that you're the right fit for the job. So take every opportunity you can to prove just that, even when you don't feel as confident. Here's a good example for this strategy. So the interviewer asks, "How many clients did your team serve last year with the software that you developed?" A very detailed question calls for a detailed response. But listen to this example. "The specific number of clients we served escapes me, but I can confidently share that this software allowed us to double our profits within a year and to lower our operation costs by about 20%. Rather than seeking to expand our client list, I developed the program with a goal of capturing more value from our current relationships." Yes, this example demonstrates that we positively impacted other metrics, just not the one mentioned in the question. Interviewers ask questions to see how you respond. Sometimes they're not even looking for a specific answer, just how you're answering it. So breathe, act natural, and give them the best unique answers that you have. Strategy number 3, sharing a hypothetical answer. Hypothetical answers work for 2 types of interview questions, behavioral and trick questions. Let's start with behavioral. There's a lot to know about how to respond to these kinds of interview questions, which you can learn about in this video right up here. But the short version is this. Interviewers ask questions about your past in order to understand how you would respond to similar situations in the future. Behavioral questions often begin with, tell me about a time when, or give me an example of. So if an interviewer asks you about a situation that you've never been in, don't worry. The test isn't whether you've been in that position before. It's if you can provide enough information so that they can anticipate how you would act in the future. So walk them through how you would approach that scenario and why. For example, an interviewer may ask, tell me about a time when you had to confront a direct report about a lack of motivation. An example answer would be, I've been fortunate enough in my 2 years as manager to have led a highly ambitious team where motivation was not an issue. Now, that being said, if one of my team members seemed to be suffering from a lack of motivation, I would set aside time with that person to discuss it one-on-one. In my experience, motivation often comes from feeling like your work is valued and that your goals are achievable. Excellent. Hypothetical answers could also work when answering trick interview questions. Now, trick interview questions are asked to get a sense of your perspective and understand how you communicate. In this case, provide a hypothetical response, being sure to walk them through each step of your thinking. For example, an interviewer might say, how many elevators are in the US? And a good response could be, I don't know exactly, but to solve this, I would start with an online search to find out how many buildings are in the US and how many buildings have elevators and what percentage of those buildings have multiple elevators. From there, I would create an initial estimate of how many elevators are in the US. I would then reach out to friends or colleagues who know more on the topic to review my estimate and provide feedback. Finally, I would consolidate everything I've learned to make a final estimate. Now, for more tricky interview questions and strategies for how to respond to them, you gotta check out this video right here. Now, this next strategy for what to say when you're stumped during a job interview is very important. Strategy number 4, answer the question, but be sure to follow up. Have you ever walked away from an interview thinking, oh, maybe I should have mentioned that, or why did I say that? Sometimes when we're caught up in our nerves, we miss out on sharing important details and we don't fully answer the question as best as we could have. So let's say an interviewer asks, why should we hire you? And you answer, you should hire me because I have a passion for organization. I've been able to leverage this passion into a successful career in project management for the past 3 years. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a great response, but we could have been a little bit more detailed in our response. Now, we know it's difficult to talk about yourself and you feel like you're almost bragging in the interview room. But if you want that role, you gotta learn how to show off your skills. So here's the most important part of this tip. Follow up. After your interview, reach out in an email highlighting some points about your accomplishments and your relevant experience that maybe you forgot to mention. You don't have to rewrite your resume. Instead, just pick out a couple key points that you want to emphasize. A follow-up might sound like, thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure meeting you and learning more about the opportunity on your team. In addition to my strong organizational skills, I wanted to highlight a few accomplishments that would make me a strong candidate for your role. Prior experience managing multiple projects simultaneously, from conceptualization to completion in a Fortune 500 company. Created, implemented, and managed processes that improved team efficiency by 15%. And after finishing your follow-up, hit that send button and hope that your persistence shines. Following up can show that you really do care about being accurate and that you're also invested in the hiring process. All right, now let's review the 4 strategies for when you just can't answer that question in a job interview. Strategy number 1, taking a pause. Consider asking a clarifying question, asking the question to be repeated, or directly asking for a moment to collect your thoughts, because sometimes a little bit of time and patience is all we need. Strategy number 2, provide the knowledge that you do have. Share what you can to show that yes, you have done your research for the role, and be sure to point out areas that you are looking to grow in. Strategy number 3, share a hypothetical answer. If you were asked a behavioral question or even a trick question, go ahead and explain how you would approach a situation and why. Strategy number 4, answer the question and then follow up. Sometimes we miss out on sharing important details about our background, so just be sure to follow up about all of your capabilities in your thank you email. Thank you all so much for sticking with us. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like down below. And of course, subscribe to our channel right over here. And then hit that notification bell so that you never miss out on our weekly career advice. And we do have you covered right now with this playlist right here. And for even more tips on interviewing, you gotta check out this video right up here. I'm Sinead, and I'll see you all next time.